What's up, everyone? Welcome to another Legit Crypto Lounge AMA. We're a lounge just trying to connect real projects with real investors. Today, we've got Rico with us and Fanta. They're part of the team from Builder Block. They're going to be joining us, so welcome, guys. So before we dig down into the token and the project, do you want to just give us a brief introduction to yourselves and a bit of background?
Definitely. So I guess I'll just start with myself, and of course Fanta can speak for himself. So me and Fanta are kind of the principal developers and founders of Build a Block project, Build a Block token, and the company that comes with it. We manage the Telegram, we do back-end stuff, and we're kind of the faces, or we could call the voices behind the project. And we share information with the community on a day-to-day basis, and we work very hard to keep the project going and to keep developing what we've been doing for quite some time now. So as to go to speak about background, myself, I've been kind of within the crypto space for the better part of what is now over 5 years. And I, before Build a Block, and I guess maybe what kind of serves as a good portion of the introduction is to say kind of how we came together to build a Block. So for 5 years I was went through many stages in what I would consider myself as what role I played in the crypto space. I went from investor to creator, and from freelancer to project developer. So basically when I first saw or first heard about the Binance Smart Chain a few years ago, I believe late 2019, I was enthralled by the space. I found it really cool. I found the opportunity to kind of have this realization of projects on a platform and a blockchain with relatively like non-existent transaction fees, in which communication between investors was very easy. Telegram became a great place. There's some bad parts of it too, but it's become a great place where it's very easy to communicate. It's very easy to get the word out there, and that set a mission for myself to kind of become involved in the space. And for the better part of my, I would guess you can call Binance career, I acted very much as a developer for people and as a freelancer for many projects in which I would develop things for, build things for, hence the name Build a Block. Build a Block is the only project I've really associated my name to fully, and taken the position of actually considering myself to be one of the founders and to be working on this project, right? So in terms of experience in the space, like I said, well over 5 years of experience. I did work on one which I would call pretty reputable and renowned project, in which I was the back-end developer for, along with a other team of great people that I still work with today. And that project was called Buyback. And funny story, I'm sure we all know how big of a thing the idea of buybacks became on the Binance Smart Chain. And for people that have been here for a while, I know a lot of people were aware of the fact that much of that kind of instillment of this kind of idea of making buybacks on the chart was kind of credited toward Everrise. Well, I'm here to tell you guys that 14 days before Everrise came to be, we actually conceptualized a project that was called Buyback in the time, and it was the first time that I sat behind a kind of a board of project developers and said, hey, like, this is a great idea. I pitched it to them. I didn't have the graciousness of managing the project for the entirety of its span, because as much so, it was my first time kind of being within a project, and I was very much more of a developer than kind of a front end front project manager. All to say is that we really kind of inspired that idea for Everrise, and we set a huge trend. And as you guys can see today, buybacks are a really huge thing. So that's kind of, I guess, what I would call my experience before I took under Build a Block and all my freelance work, which I don't want to bore anyone with, and it's probably irrelevant. But yeah, we had an all-time high of about $10 million market cap on that project from like a $1,500 stealth launch. And it was a great learning experience. I got to meet a lot of people through there, a lot of people that were still working today here on Build a Block. On the back end, a lot of amazing developers, blockchain engineers, and whatnot that I kind of, networked through that project. And, after that project, and after I did my help with that team, and I provided my, I guess, conception of ideas, I went and worked out as a freelancer. So And then, a lot of months of freelance work, and I met Fanta through actually buyback token, which was kind of what he told me his biggest win, or his first big win on the crypto space, in which I found out that he was a developer like myself. And we did this freelance work for a while, and we became a pretty pivotal and core thing behind a lot of projects in terms of development. When the idea came to play of, hey, maybe we can put our resources together, and the networking that we have done, and we're fortunate enough to come here and have known a lot of people within the space and have a lot of capability in terms of development in the space. And we said, hey, there's nothing better than to really provide a project with something that is substantial, and to kind of make this platform to for one, make the Binance Smart Chain and kind of Web3 a better space in general, but for two, to provide something of substance, and to facilitate the emergence of Web3 as much as we can. And that's the real idea behind Build a Block, which I'm sure I have a lot of time today to talk about in the AMA. So I guess I'll keep that for the intro of myself and how Fanta and myself met. But yeah, that covers it for my portion of the intro. If Fanta feels like he wants to throw in a couple more things, I'll let him do so.
Nice,
well, for
nice.
sure. Well, I mean, like you said, buyback was kind of one of my first big wins. It's how we met. Before that, I was very much in a similar position to yours, as more of an investor than a creator. Obviously doing some developmental work on the side and things like this. And then, after buyback, as you well know, Rico, but to tell the others, me and Rico kind of came together, started, putting our connections together, and helping various developers with various parts and portions of their project, doing some freelance work here and there, and eventually kind of came up with the idea of Build a Block kind of came together with very much with that as a basis. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to add.
Nice, cool. There's one thing I picked up on. You said you're the voice of Build a Block. I'm guessing that means you're not doxed.
Yeah, so we have I like addressing this topic because I'm sure we don't know, like the people in the AMA don't know now, but we are very much in the essence a decentralized company in which we plan on making a real entity in the future, right? Which the time will come, where myself and Fanta are going to have a face to the project. We didn't feel any necessary, any necessity in doxing for multiple reasons, in which I'll go over shortly. Just more about the fact that, for one, trust. I've been in this space for a while, and I guess we can. I don't know if if this word insinuates the wrong idea, but the paper trail I have left, in a sense, is very a positive one, right? And I'm very much upstanding in the work I do. I'm very much a believer of code will tell you everything about the actual project. An actual source code can have integrity, but to go and say that, you look at our code and you realize, in terms of maliciousness, there's nothing. And time and time again, I feel as developers, and I can speak for my community in my beliefs on this one, to say that we have vetted ourselves to them and to a lot of people in the space, both through the project we've created and through all the work we've done, and the good business we've done by people to date. Yeah, so in the future, on the table for sure.
Cool. Do you docs of people that you work with? I mean, we'll go into the utility of Build a Block later, so people can get a better understanding of what you do. But
for sure.
If I came to you, to build me a smart contract, is the possibility to dox their face, as people who are building my contract?
So yes, so where in terms of team members, amongst team members, I would say that all of us amongst team members, I'd say for the Build a Block team itself, including the backend team, 90% of our team is doxed to each other. A good portion of our team, have met in real life. Me and Fanta have met in real life. We have sat down, we have conceptualized the project together in real life. As far as clients go, right? If someone talks to me for a smart contract, someone wants to build a yield farm, and whatnot, definitely not. There's not going to be a personal relationship on that scale. But, to say that, and it's an interesting topic you've addressed, there have been clients where, we've done such extensive business with them that, we've had calls, we've had video calls. Some of our clients, that have put us up to more serious endeavors, that require weeks and weeks of work and development. There has been that relationship instilled with certain people, most definitely. But, we definitely don't want the Build a Block business to to be more appeared as a face, more as just, you know, a proof of work, and to say that, you know, build and this company is doing great by people and it's helping developers all across the space. So for that reason, you know, most of the times when people will contact for a service, you know, they'll be messaging our general build services Telegram account, and, you know, you'll either have me, Fanta, you know, kind of call you, and we'll talk about your development, and then, you know, you'll work with maybe one of our developers, you'll work with us. It depends on what you want built, but no, not on a regular basis will we dox to our clients. Honestly, we have too many. Right now we're sitting over 100 and I believe 30 developments. So if I took the time out of my day to say, hey, I'm this person from here, I'm very open about myself. Definitely, you know, my whole community knows I live in Manhattan. Fanta himself, he lives in Canada. And, you know, we were very clear and open with our whole team and our clients, and our what I would like to call our family at the same time, you know. So like I said, in the future it's a must, and I'd be super honored in a sense to kind of present myself as the, you know, manager and developer of this project. But for the time being, you know, to keep you know, personal reasons out of it, and to, you know, not have the extra stresses of people I know in real life asking me about a company I'm running, and to kind of really allow for my 100% focus, it's much easier for us to remain Rico and Fanta. And, you know, I mean, funny enough, that Rico is part of my real name in real life, which I'm not I have no objection telling people, you know. So just I'm a big believer that if the market dominator of this whole space has no founder, then a project will never be limited by a face. But, you know, given the fact that Build a Block does plan to be a real registered company, it's on the agenda and it's going to stay there.
So just pick my next question. Yeah, like I understand, like from a, you know, a decentralized point of view, that, you know, it's not completely necessary, and like you say, there doesn't have to be a face to it. Like, I mean, the only concern is that I've seen projects in the past that you know, they've outsourced someone to do their development, and, you know, they've been recommended this person, and then bad things have happened, you know. Obviously,
well,
that's
you know, it's very much part of the essence of Build a Block is building trust around the project itself, and having kind of those developments and those sales, and just the sheer number of them speak for themselves. So that was to clients and things like that. And
I mean, you've done like 130 now, 130 bits of work somewhere like that, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's you know, Build a Block, we'll go into it a bit later, but we very much pride ourselves on you know, the fact that everyone who is working for Build a Block as a developer, and that is working for clients and with clients, is someone that is, you know, vetted, trusted, tried by the team, and that has shown that they are a good developer capable of creating what is necessary. So that's a big part of it.
We'll be talking about some company numbers after, which I guess will speak to both the fact that, you know, in terms of trust, the sheer amount of capital that has ran through the business, you know, and has ended up in the proper ways, and, you know, the clients have been delivered proper services, and just the sheer amount of developments we've done, you know, all the good testaments we have, and I think what speaks louder than the good testaments is the fact that there's never been a negative one, right? So there's definitely a lot of stuff that we'll detail in the AMA that, you know, will speak far toward kind of, you know, this aspect of trust, which is so necessary in the space, right? And, you know, that's why I try to hop on AMAs as much as I can with the community and in other chats, you know, and to kind of establish this you know, this personal relationship with our investors and the people that we you know, kind of, or that the people that have put their faith in us and the project itself, you know. So always something that we continue to work toward, and always something that, you know, we're very ground rule on, is that it always comes first.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to ask one more question on it and we'll move on, because we want to get into the good stuff. But have you KYC'd anywhere?
So yeah, we had made some KYC applications in the start of Build a Block. We wanted to make sure about going to kind of KYC to the right company, right? So it's a busy business we run, right? Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, I much rather just dox myself than, you know, give up my identity to someone who might maybe do it for me one day on no grounds, right? So, you know, as much as trust is a thing in the space, you know, we have to trust people as well. And I have yet to find, I guess, a company, right, or listen, I know of a lot of KYC companies and a lot of projects that do that. I have yet to find one that, myself, I would look into say, hey, these developers are KYC'd here. It makes a difference, right? So the minute that opportunity is presented on the table for us, there is a great chance we'll take it. But, I don't want to just say, hey, we're KYC to these people, but who are they and what does this project stand for and what is the, so that's going to be the big thing for us. And, I don't want to, I also am not a huge fan of the fact of just, telling people to say, hey, we're KYC here. And that's like what's going to earn their trust. I'd much rather earn it in a fashion where they see that the project's a solid thing. They see that, we're people that both, care for our project behind belief. And, ultimately, obviously, as a, direct kind of consequence of that is care for our investors, So,
and I do just something quick to add to that in terms of trust. We do have a full audit, a full tech audit on the Build a Block contract itself, which we passed with zero issues, passed with flying colors, and an ecosystem, an audit on our entire ecosystem as well. So,
cool.
Yeah,
nice. I think your proof of work is speaks for itself in a way. You got 130 projects done dealing with intricate stuff. So, let's move on from that anyway. You mentioned that there's more team members. How many's in the team altogether?
Yeah, so in the Telegram group, we have myself and Fanta that primarily manage the Telegram, and I'll do the AMAs and Fanta will do the AMAs as well. We have in our what I would call our, in terms, let's put it in family terms, you have your immediate family and your extended family. So in our immediate team, we'll have myself, Fanta, and about 4 to 5 developers that are in our immediate team, which, we're talking every day about the project. They're immediately invested to the point where, sometimes when they're building stuff for clients, they don't even want to be compensated in actual, monetary value. They're just happy to be working on the project and advancing the project as a whole, like us, So sometimes I'm sure most people are now, familiar with the basic kind of outline of build, but, we're taking a portion of our revenues and we do buybacks with it, right? So our internal team for that, all to say is that our internal team shares kind of the same interests and the same beliefs as us, and the same kind of, they're not just a worker, right? And, to go, and that's 5, so that would be 7 people, including myself and Fanta, 6 to 7 people. And, we have a great, like I was mentioning before, I have done my fair share of networking in the space. And we have about 3 to 4, I would say more around 4 developers that will rotate between time and time, that I'll pick up the phone and I'll make a call and I'll say, hey, so-and-so from our team is going to need some assistance on this specific development. We'll get you your billable hour paid and, come and work with us. And not to say that they don't share the same interest in the project at all, but, these are guys that, we pay for their time immediately right away. And, they're not benefiting off the growth of Build a Block. They're benefiting off, their time. Right. And, just for me and kind of Fanta and the project to have access to these guys whenever we pick up the phone is awesome feat. Cause, they're guys with tons of clients as well, just in their, freelance, work and such. And to have the kind of level of developers on our team that we do have. And, to even say that the extended people that we're working with in itself feel more or less honored to work with us all the time is a great thing as well. So, we can sum it up all together as that we have, at least, on a day-to-day basis, about 6 to 7 people working on Build a Block. And, when needed, we expand that number out to 10 or 11.
Cool. All right. That's good. All right. Let's get into the good stuff then. Tell us what is Build a Block? Give us an overshot. Give us a utility.
Definitely.
Give us USPs. The floor is yours.
Awesome. So I'm really excited to you guys. So Build a Block this, Build a Block that. Why are we here today, guys? What do I have to tell you? I'm very excited to do so. So Build a Block, like I was mentioning a bit in the introduction, but I did not, give it justice, is, why did we make Build a Block? And that's such an underrated question, I believe, so many times, because the answer to that for a lot of developers or quote unquote developers is, well, we made this project so we could buy this or we can make some money. Or we made this project, maybe they didn't want money, but they just wanted to make a project. But why? What does the project serve? So Build a Block was inspired on kind of 2 fundamentals of every business I've been a part of, every company I've ever worked for, every associate I've ever had, every coworker that I've ever learned from. We sat down and we said, hey, if we're going to, use our skills and our network and our connections to bring a project, and bring a medium and a platform to kind of development services, what is this project doing for the space? And for one, the project needed to have a purpose and a goal and a mission. And that mission is not to tell our community that our mission is a certain market cap, which definitely is. We're going to get to these astronomically high market caps. But, we sat down and we said, well, for one, we need to both help the space, change the space, and do better by the space. And what do we mean by that, right? So for one, build a block, and with every successful company in the world, right? If you look at Fortune 5 companies, if you look at, anything trading, publicly at, hundreds of billions of dollars of market cap, you'll see that they did something substantial in an industry that needed them, and they did it the best, right? And we have the emergence, right now, of kind of what is to be the biggest industry in our world. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of, people within the space and a lot of, people that are inside the AMA right now taking the time out of their day, if you're this deep into the crypto space, I'm sure you'd agree with me on this one. Web 2 is huge, and Web 3 is only going to be bigger, right? So we found this space, and that wasn't the first problem. The first is just, well, how are we going to make it better, and how are we going to provide something to people? We're in a very the space, and I'm talking about Web 3 as a whole. It lacks kind of a place to go for development. In the real world, you need a lawyer, you have a bunch of law firms. You need your house built, there's a lot of construction offices. But, you want to build something in cryptocurrency, and you want to build something decentralized, in the whole essence of decentralization. It's not that easy, right? You have a lot of these websites like Fiverr, Upwork. You have, we do have our fair share of, I don't even call them competition because no one is really doing something the way we're doing it. But, you do have outlets, but you have nothing that, has established a kind of a center focus and say, hey, I can come here and I can really have anything built, right? And we said, hey, that's the problem with the space that we're solving. We're solving, multiple problems. We're solving the pain in for lack of a better word, the pain in the ass that it takes to kind of go ahead and first of all have trust in when working with people in a decentralized fashion, right? And for two, just the immediate accessibility to developmental services within Web3, right? And to kind of, for one, the trust aspect had to be built from the ground up from the moment that, we started building stuff for people. And we've come to a point at this point where that trust, has become something that, is almost kind of inherent in our clients from the point on, from where we are now, just given on the work we've done. But, we told ourselves, hey, we're going to take our resources together, in which most people in our, kind of world that we're in a developer world, and people that can do freelance work, it's not in their best interest to do what me and Fanta did oftentimes, right? Why would they want to manage a company? Why would they want to focus on how to market a company rather than just, go from job to job and pocket all the money themselves, right? So it's something that we said, hey, let's do the right thing. Let's not focus on, our immediate needs and the fact that maybe we can make a bit more money personally for our personal lives by just hopping, from project to project and helping these guys develop and charging them. Let's really do something productive, and we'll reap the benefit, and so will all our investors in the end. And that's where the idea of Build came, is that, hey, we're going to kind of create a way and a platform for people to come where people can trust and people can get stuff made and delivered faster than ever. And I'll go into kind of explaining a bit later, kind of just the sheer scalability of that idea in itself. But, to go on to what I said, Build a Block was founded on one of two things, two principal things. And I just explained the first. The second is that, well, if you're going to have what we call, our build token as a tokenized share, well, that, when our investors are buying into our company and our project, we want them to have a capability of their investment growing without the need of someone to come and buy after them. Right. And that's the biggest problem with every single project that launches on this space, right? Is that, yes. I usually dismiss it as crowdfunding and almost to the point where it's a large Ponzi scheme, everything people are buying into, because, what's the essence of exactly. What's the essence of your investment growing when you're buying whatever Inu or even a project that, kind of tries to put a shell over itself as a utility project? You're just buying into the idea of, well, there's probably going to be a lot of guys who buy after me, and I'm buying this relatively early. That means people are going to buy after me, and I'm going to make some money, right?
And that's in essence that's what it's all about. And to be honest with you, that's what's wrong with this space.
Definitely.
If you go into a project knowing that, then that's okay. But
yeah, exactly.
The problem is other people are going into that project hoping for some form of utility that
exactly
is not likely ever going to exist.
Exactly,
So
and a utility that brings something to the investors. You know what I mean?
100%. When you put in revenue into a chart, there you go. That ends the Ponzi scheme in a way. To me.
Exactly. It breaks this kind of cyclical nature of investing in something on the sheer hope that someone will buy after you. And I'm not telling you that that's not a way a lot of people see return on their investment, but it's not the way that people are going to go and buy that project for a long period of time. And we were gifted with something awesome on this EVM blockchain in specific, where we have the capability of creating projects and making them go public without millions and millions and tens of millions and 8-9 figures of investments beforehand. Whereas in the real world you'd have to launch your company public after millions and millions and millions of dollars of evaluation, right? We were given this blessing and we said, hey, we're not going to take advantage of that. And what we're going to do is prove to people, and as long as it takes sometimes to get this, ingrained in people's thought, which we can't always do, but we have done with most and to all of our investors today, is that when you're buying Build a Block, you're not only buying because it's a cool project and it looks good and someone will probably buy after you. People will buy after you, but that's not the reason you're going to make money. The reason you're going to make money is that the project, right, and the token is a direct kind of consequence of the business we're doing. And we're doing great business and we're doing successful business, right? There's two main ways that kind of Build a Block allows for passive growth. And what I mean by passive is obviously, when we're building developments all day, it's not exactly passive, right? But what, allows for Build a Block to grow over time and for our users' investments to grow over time is one of, the first thing is obviously the kind of services we're selling. We're taking on every service from about 20 to 30% of the total revenues. And it's so awesome that you pulled that up. I was literally about to send a link to that. So yeah, what's on the screen, by the way, right now, guys, is our Q1 document. I believe that was posted August 23rd. So yeah, that details those numbers that you see there, those client numbers. Every number you see there is corresponding to when we hit 100 services sales sold. Ironically, we hit it at almost what was a real quarterly mark, a 3-month period, which was awesome. But yeah, so to continue, we are taking about 20 to 30% of our revenues on every single sale. And we're fortunate enough to kind of have the team where our profit margins are that big. And, we're pouring it right back into the chart and we're burning the supply, right? We have no auto burn. We've burnt north of, I believe, 5.5% of our total supply to date, solely off revenues, right? We've poured upwards of a quarter of a 6-figure amount back into the chart solely on revenues, right? So Build a Block project in Q1, we did over 6 figures of revenue, which was really awesome. And it told our whole community and told everyone that, hey, this really works, because for one, your investment, like I said, is not solely dependent on the fact that people are going to buy after, is that there is really new income and there's really new growth coming into the chart every single day based on something concrete and something real, right? And when you go buy shares of Apple or shares of Google or shares of Tesla when it was really low, sure, their market caps are largely inflated based on the trading of their actual stock. So is every other project in the world that has a publicly traded asset. But the core fundamental is that Tesla makes the coolest electric cars to date, and they were the best ones to do it for now. And that Google made the best internet browser there is, and that Apple made the most innovative smartphone when there was no smartphone, right? And today, and I'm not here to have a Apple versus Android, conflict with anyone, but to date, that they're the leading competitor in that industry, right? And they're doing it the best in terms of whether it's marketing, whether it's development, whether it's customer appeal to their product. They're doing it the best, but they're really doing something. You walk out of the street, you'll see a lot of people with an iPhone in their hand. You'll go on the street, you'll see a lot of people driving a Tesla. And, when you go to work, or some of you guys are in school or wherever you're doing, when you open a computer, you're going to see Google, right? And what that all has in common is that they're providing something that people need and that people use and that people, choose to depend on every single day, right? And if you can't bring that to your company, and if you can't bring that importance to your product, right, or into your project, then you have no longevity and you have no scalability, right? And what's beautiful about Build Block is that we've kind of went ahead of this curve, and I like quoting this, right? Because I believe it was Jeff Bezos who said this. He said, you don't try to catch the wave, you position yourself in front of the wave and then you let the wave catch you, right? And in the sense that, we didn't choose to just ride some hype train in the space. We said, hey, Web3 is going to be a really big thing. Just like the internet was going to be a really big thing. Just like every single other of these huge companies said, hey, this is going to be a big thing before it was a big thing. And right now we only have a few percentage of people in the entire world, using blockchain related stuff. But we will see more, and we are seeing more. And with anything, with a car, when your car breaks down, you need to see a mechanic. When you want to build your house, you need to see a construction guy or an architect. Well, if this is going to become the big space that, we are all betting on that it will, and, it's not much of a bet at this point, well, then development is going to be arguably the most important and in-demand thing within the entire space, right? And we've capitalized on the, the specific essence that is not concrete in the space yet, and that there's not a true and kind of nominated contender, that we can't take that spotlight, guys. And of course, it's going to be just like everything. There's competition everywhere. The thing is that we're starting ahead of the curve. We're starting very early. We're doing it in a way that we have offered people a chance to invest in a company before it's really the company. You know what I mean? And kind of before that, we're giving a chance to people while we're still developing things just for people in EVM blockchains, But Build-A-Box future doesn't just entail cryptocurrency related development, but relates all of decentralized web development, right? And when companies want to move a lot of their stuff onto a blockchain, well, Build-A-Block will have that name and that status and this kind of center position in the space to, kind of allow us to gain those people as clients and to kind of, have the pleasure of developing for them, right? And that's really the beauty behind the scalability behind Build-A-Block, is that, we have positioned ourselves in the essence into the largest growing thing of our world right now. And we are kind of doing the most in-demand thing for that thing. And, when you're doing something that's in demand, money is a byproduct, and, capital and revenues being a byproduct of doing something good, well, the direct byproduct of that is the chart and our users' investments growing, which is that's the main beauty behind the fact that Build-A-Block is scalable to almost this infinite level, And to speak a bit about the passive, I'll go on later and explain that. But, as I guess you guys are all aware, we do sell about a service a day, but, 1 week might be worse, right? And 1 week might be better. So we said, hey, pouring money from revenues is not enough in our chart. We want to have a true passive way of growing our chart. So, we kind of developed this whole ecosystem with, a powerhouse of a farm token, a proprietary native yield farm, and just kind of what we call the build ecosystem, which, allows for a ton of revenue generation as the chart, which is kind of, that leads me to kind of the conclusion of the two things that we were based on, and for one, to do good by the space and to do good by people. And, for two, to really provide something to people, and not, fall into this crowdfunding thing and this Ponzi scheme creation that unfortunately this space has almost been tainted by. But, we set out with a rather harder kind of objective in which we've been succeeding to date, and we will continue to succeed. And, we said, hey, let's deliver Build-A-Block, so it's awesome to have, been here and to kind of set out this mission. And that's Build-A-Block to date. I've been rambling for a little while now, so I'll draw the attention back to our hosts before I continue.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a few questions on here, buddy, if that's all right. I mean, I think we could probably go on for more than an hour here because there's a lot to get your teeth into. Firstly, I'm just going to say that I love the website because I don't know if you saw me earlier playing with the little things, man. But I didn't realize that the first time I looked, but like building the block and stuff. That's dope.
Oh, it's really cool. We're working on a new website now, but we definitely want to keep those animations in.
Yeah, they're cool. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's get into these revenues then. To be fair, was this your first quarter as a project?
Yeah. So if you just scroll up, just because my memory is definitely a bit, one more page, just to the cover page. I believe it was August 23rd, right?
Yeah, May the 26th to August the 20th.
August 23rd. So I published that 3 days before I should have, but we launched on May 26th. We sold our first sale about 2 to 3 days after launch. And, this represents a 3-month time period, which is, indeed our first quarter of operation.
It's pretty impressive. Given the state of the market as well during that time. There's massive potential here and a proper bull run to, probably quadruple these figures.
Definitely, and that's what we're banking on for sure.
The amount of projects launching and stuff, and the projects that it's probably a lot more than there was, but that means there's a lot more looking for help and assistance. So
definitely,
these figures are bullish. I like them. What happens to so we've got a 30-40% profit margin per sale average.
Yeah.
So we did 110,000 in revenue. What happened to the other stuff in the buyback? Is it from these profit margins? Are your guys like paid work taken out of here?
No, so well, me and Fanta and myself, we don't pay ourselves much from services. You know, we both do this full time, so you know, we're completely honest with the community that when first of all, we take nothing out of the project itself. We do take kind of quote unquote salary out of the business, very minimal. You know, we cover a few of our things that we need to do to you know live life, right? Because this is what we dedicate our time to fully. But you know, that's not even a fraction of the number here. So to break it down to you guys, you see that 21% of the revenues, that was the average median number, 20.0, it was 20.8%. That was the average percent of revenues, revenues used for actual buybacks. Like I said, as much as we have our internal team that loves doing some stuff for free right now, everyone has to get paid that works on the stuff, right? So the rest of the, I guess, quote unquote, you know, profit margin that's left when we're looking at a 30 to 40% figure, that's dedicated to development. Obviously, the 70% is our costs, which get paid to our developers. Sometimes we have profit margins that's bigger, but, you know, we always will kind of put that money back into our treasuries. We'll put that money into our liquidity pools. We'll use that money to open new staking pools, new farm pairs on our yield farm, which we've been allowing people to earn crazy amounts of revenue with. And, you know, oftentimes we'll just make bigger buybacks, right? You know, so we personally, no one will ever take money from profits. We will establish a cost, you know, and if I have to sit down and take 6 hours out of my day to build something for someone, I will make my cost, and every profit will always be used to furthering the business. It will not always just be poured back into the chart because, you know, funds are an essential thing, and the essence of Build a Block should just not be to take every dollar we produce and buy into the chart, but to kind of, you know, use these dollars to expand our kind of operations and to, you know, go ahead and hire new developers, you know, take chances to promote the project, and, you know, best of all, to reward our community, you know, because we're very fond of allowing people to earn, you know, and we have some great APYs and great APRs on our farms and our staking pools, you know, and we'll oftentimes, you know, kind of reward the community with that, and, you know, use those excess funds for that, whether it's not, you know, developing something new. And actually, funny enough, we have some really, really cool stuff going on behind the scenes right now in terms of, you know, what we're building to build. And, you know, we've been working actually on it might be the first time I'm saying this, but we are working on the background right now as we speak on a launch pad, you know, so kind of a pre-sale platform that we will be adding to build. You know, we're building that proprietary, so that costs funds, you know, and everything else that down the line is going to cost us money. So no, all the profits stay in the business. Everyone that needs to get paid gets paid. And, you know, we always aim for a 20 to 30% margin to at least buy back with, right? Because after all, that's the essence of the project. And I think that creating a deflationary supply as a direct result of the quality of work we're doing, right? And not an auto burn will speak for itself as we take more and more tokens out of the market and kind of, you know, create this higher value per token, you know, and that's always been our goal from day one.
Cool. And I've just forwarded something in the chat as well, because I really like this feature about what you guys are doing with the sale numbers and how, you know, you're sharing with the community what the job was, you know, the transaction for it.
Definitely.
Like, in terms of transparency, you can't really ask for much more than that. And
oh, definitely. Yeah, we do our best.
And I like them. I find them interesting. I read through a couple earlier when I was flicking through the Telegram, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. And that's a good idea. And then coupled with these quarterly earnings, yeah, it's great. I love it. It feels like you're investing into a stock and investing into a company, you know, not just a crypto that you don't know what's going on. You don't know where the money's going. And
exactly.
Really
we want to be as transparent as we could, you know, and all those numbers, you know, to set the record straight as well, calculated to a T. Like, me and Fanta spent hours looking through every transaction, every buyback. This was a bit before. So I'd say for the first maybe month of the project, we didn't keep enough records. Like, we knew every sale we made, we wrote it out, but, you know, we didn't write down the exact number that went here and here and here. Since then, we've implemented invoices to all our clients, you know, about, I guess, a month and a half into launch. And, you know, that we do great, you know, record history, and we keep everything on file. But, you know, it did take a few hours of going through all our TXs and, you know, allocating everything to write those numbers up. We are looking for, you know, maybe some external audits into the actual company in the future, just to kind of give people a sense. But yeah, you know, we definitely work as much as we can to show every step of the way with every client. You know, we do get asked the question in AMAs a lot as well, that may as well just address now, is that, like, why don't you guys share your specific clients? And I guess for obvious reasons, we don't like, no matter what caliber of client we're dealing with, if we're dealing with developers of multi-million-dollar projects, which we have, or if we're dealing with developers of $10,000 market cap projects, we're never going to kind of, either piggy bank off someone's success or let them piggy bank off us, So that's the reason that we don't publicly announce who we're working for. They have all the right to say that they bought something off us. I can go into the Apple store, buy an iPhone and say, I bought it off Apple, but Apple's not going to say, hey, I sold a phone to Rico buyback today, right? So that's just for anyone in the AMA was curious about it, because I'm sure some people are, and I've gotten that question a lot, but just thought I'd throw it out there.
No, that's cool. That's good. By the way, I liked when you first came in and you said, you set goals in terms of what you want to do in the space and why you want to do it. It's good to hear something like that. You want to make the space cleaner. How we're going to do it. You've set almost smart targets, and that's cool. I really like that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything else to touch on the revenue, but well done for a good first quarter. And how's it going for September so far? With the market being a bit scattery.
Oh, honestly, fairly good. I did an update here. Hold on, I'll pull up. So obviously, since we released that, which was the end of August, we've made to date, I believe, another 26 official sales that we've announced. Just double check. I'm not. Yeah. So we have, as of now, it's about 129. I just haven't announced the last two that we did yesterday and today. 30 sales for kind of what is the month of September to date. We're 20 days into September, so we have kept the ball rolling.
Yeah,
definitely. We have seen kind of more, interestingly enough, more serious development, which is always awesome because there's more revenue going into the chart. But we've undertaken a lot more projects that kind of require a real conception to their development, and we've taken on a lot of custom stuff recently too. So we do have I believe to date over 20 upwards, maybe even 30 base services on our services list that we'll just you'll contact us for it. It's done in a few hours, right? Or maximum 24, 48 hours. And then, you'll have people that come to us and say, hey, I have this idea for this, and I want to build, this website that does that, or I want to build this on the blockchain. Or the requests we have are awesome. Some of them are crazy. Some of them make no sense. Some of them make so much sense, but we take the time out of our day to sit one-on-one most of the times with as many clients as we can, and build these custom stuff. So the month of September have seen kind of this more, I guess, serious undertaking that we've taken on a lot of larger name clients, a lot of clients that desire to do a lot of cool stuff, which we're really pleased about. And we've expanded just kind of our range of kind of abilities in terms of a team and in terms of a project. Just this month we added about 10 base services to our list. If you go in our chat and you do /services, you'll find kind of a whole list, an outline. And if you go through the pins, I actually at one point highlighted the 10 new ones that we had implemented, but I guess I'll just, awesome. You pulled it up. That's so awesome. Okay, I'll go ahead and talk to you guys. So we started doing some quick audits for build via build. So we have some auditing services now that we implemented this month. We're able to get you third-party audits, which are awesome for a lot of people. We're able to conduct an in-house audit via our project, and we're able to do quick audits, much like TechRate does a quick free audit that you wait 2 weeks for. We'll check for some basic functions, and you'll give us whatever. I believe we have it there at $150. Yeah, so $150. We're doing that for people all day. We've implemented a lot of stuff. We did some graphic design. We hired a bunch of new graphic guys. Smart contract management was a cool thing too. So we've kind of allocated about 2 people that were willing to just run people's smart contracts for them. By all means, and in no means does every time we kind of undertake that, we make sure the proper understandings are in place that, these developers that are, part of our team that are just managing the core code for them, what their job is to make sure that all the TXs are clean, the liquidity is untouchable, and the project can manage. By no means are they actually working on the project. They just ensure that, kind of the operations run smoothly. That's something that we've gotten a lot of requests for. But I must tell you guys, it's definitely selective, so if we don't want to do it, we're not going to do it, just because that's a liability issue sometimes. Transaction inspection services, that's really cool. That's something that's brand new as well. NFT design and conception. We, like I said, great artists that we onboarded in September. By the way, guys, I'm just talking to you about what changed in September, what we added this month. I believe everything else was there. If you just scroll up for me just a second, I think there's some new stuff in just right there. Awesome. So native launchpad, like I said, we're building it for build. We've already built it for a client. What else is we added here? Dashboard creation, also something coming to build. We make dashboards for people if they want to kind of advertise whatever it is they want to kind of have there. Staking platforms, we had a lot. Application development, this is really cool. So we had a client that asked us to, hey, can I get something on Google Play? And we got it done. It's still in the workings right now, but we built his whole game that he wanted to build. He's gonna have to go through the proper kind of requirements to get everything online. But we were lucky enough to kind of onboard the developer that helped one of our internal developers kind of build all this. So that's another services that we're offering as of September. Everything else has been there since launch or since the months before launch. But as you guys can see, all that, unless it says custom, that's all our base services, guys. That's stuff that at any time of the week you contact us for, and it's done, right? It's not outsourced. It's done within the project. It's done by people in the project, and it's done rapidly and at a cost that I would argue is very competitive. You know what I mean? And some of them say starting
very
from
affordable. Some of them,
yeah, definitely, right? And I think that prices fluctuate. Sometimes you may get a little bit of a discount. You do good work with us. We've built stuff for free for our long-time clients. We're very much in opening relationships and sort of long-term work. We have people that even middleman our services. Funny enough, it doesn't bother me as long as the revenue's coming back into Build a Block, right? But to say that we're working for a lot of people at a lot of times, understatement. And we're really proud that at least in September we're able to kind of have our services list where it is today, and kind of continuously try to make it, for one, as affordable as possible. As we hire more people, as we get more connections, as we have the contracts for a lot of this stuff, we're able to reduce our price a lot. You know what I mean? So if you want a staking contract and I already have the file, well, it doesn't need to be $700, right? It could be a bit less, or $1,000. It could be a bit less. It could be significantly less. Depends on what you ask. So that's the upside of really having stuff done internally, is that we're not picking up the phone and calling some random dude that we've never worked with before and building your stuff. No, it's being built by myself. It's being built by Fanta. It's building by a great part of our internal team. And if you're requesting something big, well, we might have to call in some of our external kind of people. But just because they're external doesn't mean that we haven't worked with them for the entirety of the time I've been. Not one person that has ever developed on Build, I have not I've known them for at least 2 years, and that's concrete. So definitely something that I'll only kind of allow people to really work on specific things. The one exception to that 2-year rule is kind of the graphic guys we've onboarded, and we're all for people applying to kind of work with us. But they definitely have to go through a little vetting process and whatnot, right? But stringent but effective, and that's what we stand by, and that we want to make sure quality is number one and safety is number one. So yeah, and we're happy and very pleased to have kind of compiled that list in September.
Let me ask you a question here. Why did you want to create a token for this? Why not just do the
company?
Yeah,
great question, because before I made this project, I asked myself the exact same thing. I said, Rico, wouldn't the token just make your life a bit more complicated? And I said, why did I get into this space? Why would I stop working as a freelancer if I didn't want to give people the opportunity to benefit off my creation, right? And I said, hey, I could just make a development services company with Fanta. It'd be cool. It'd be awesome. But we have something that, for one, is going to allow people to invest in us. And we didn't need the investment, right? But it helps. And it's, for one, supportive of us. And for two, just to go to say that, let's stick it to every company that needed to go through millions and millions and millions of dollars of funding. Let's, onboard the extra kind of weight on our shoulders of making sure we manage token price. And we said, hey, it's 20 to 30% of our revenues. It's going to cost us that plus some development for the token. And guess what? We are going to have a hell of a tokenized shareholding of our company. And we said, we could wait months and months and months and, maybe upwards of years to go on public ICOs. And we said, hey, we have an opportunity right here and right now. we launched with Fanta. What was it? 2 BNB initial liquidity.
It was like 700, $650. It was 2 BNB, I think at the time was like
$650.
$650 or something like that.
That could
Yeah, it
have
was
been
the initial market cap.
$65,000 for all I care. But you know what I said? How cool is it that some people are going to be able to say, "Hey, I bought a project when it wasn't even worth 7 figures," and they're doing that in revenue in a month now, for example, right? And the essence of that alone, that we're able to provide that opportunity, and we told ourselves at the same time, to expand a business, what's better than having a community behind you, right? Marketing development services is not exactly easy, but marketing a token makes it just as easy, right? And what's
just to,
beautiful is that
add,
this
just to add
token,
on
yeah,
that,
go ahead.
we have, we also have some referral services and things that we've implemented, which not only bring us clients, but also, give the opportunity to some of our community members to benefit directly from those service sales in the form of, actual dollars. So we do have that aspect as well, where we have, community members working to bring us new clients as well, and really helping on that aspect of the project.
Which adds exposure, right? And at the same time,
that's definitely a good point there. Like, the community in itself is a marketing tool. Like,
and not to say that the only reason we made a token is to get free marketing. More to say that we're able to offer people something that I don't see many people offering, and at a range that I don't see many people being able to offer at, right? And
so let me just come to that now, because we've got a question from a community member in the text. Basically, the prices seem really, really low. How are you able to deliver quality products for this price? I get some things are pretty easy and affordable, but overall, native swap for $600 is like really cheap.
Well, the beauty about that is that when we launched, that was $1,500, and the great thing about that is that we've built a ton of them, and I'll be fairly honest with you, it doesn't take me long to do that for you. You know what I mean? And if you want your own router, it's not $600, right? That's for a swap using a pancake swap router, and a front end build for you, which is a bargain of a price. But if you want your own routers and stuff like that, and you want to be able to set your own slippage rates and all that, it's more expensive. But bottom line is that we said that, hey, for one, quality matters, but what equally matters in this business is quantity. And if I could choose to sell 2 lotteries a week for X amount, or sorry, 2 swaps a week for X amount, or if I can choose to sell 10 swaps a week for this amount, and 10 projects are now using our swap, and there's a chance that 10 projects communities are going to be hearing about us, and there's a chance that these 10 people that bought this swap off us for a good price have another friend or another coworker, another person they've met that is going to need the same thing, then let's do it like that. And our whole mission from the start was to, first of all, make people's projects a tad bit better. And by no means, if someone buys a swap off us or whatever it is, does it make their project credible? But, they sure as hell are trying to make it somewhat of substance. And we want to provide that medium to people. And, we realize that, as project founders ourselves, that, money is not the easiest thing to come by if you're doing things properly, right? So we want to provide a kind of competitive price, and we wanted to just basically take every competitor out by their legs, right? And just say, hey, come to us, and it's a fraction of the price and it's a fraction of the time, and we're still able to pump as much money as we would be pumping into the chart. You know what I mean? And when you see those bigger services, and I'm sure everyone's noticed that a lot of stuff says from, right? It depends on what staking platform you want. They won't always be. We've made staking platforms for less than $1,800, but they won't all be $1,800, right? We've made yield farms for, we've made yield farms for $6,000 to $7,000, but we've also made farms for $12,000, right? So, and we've made, goes with everything on the list that says from. There's always an upgraded version, and it could always be cooler and could always be better. But we said, hey, let's help as many people as possible, and that oftentimes requires being a bit less greedy, and just kind of it serves its purpose as it is. So that's the story behind the price. And as niche of a market we're in, it's definitely a competitive one, right? So to stand out, we have to stand out in a few ways.
Awesome. Yeah, so you've gone for the snowball effect, which is understandable. And to be honest with you, a lot of stuff industry is completely overpriced, because I think a lot of the time projects are spending other people's money, so they don't care what they pay. Like, you know, they don't. If it was their own money, a lot of the time, then they'd be a bit more conscious. But since it's come from a marketing tax or something like that, you know,
they're not that conscious.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it's just the prices to me look incredibly fair.
I appreciate that. And if people were, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're okay. Just hats off to you with your pricing and stuff. And I guess, like you say, when you've done a platform a few times or a swap a few times, and you're swapping bits and that, it becomes easier and easier as you've done a few more, I guess.
Exactly. And that comes down to more for me of just like a thing about my personal ethics is that if people knew the amount of work that a lot of this stuff takes and paid the price sometimes they're paying, they wouldn't be very happy with themselves and they wouldn't be happy with the business they had just done. And I come from a background where in my life, I don't know if I could say the pleasure or the not pleasure, but a lot of the businesses I've been involved in life and the practices I've taken, I've been, living in New York, corporate, law, business, Wall Street, it's all around me. And I have a lot of friends that are big time corporate lawyers. I've, not going to share a lot of my personal work experience in the past, but it's funny, when you're paying somebody $1,000 an hour to do something that takes them 10 minutes. Right. And that to me is not something that I wanted to bring in the space. I wanted to bring fairness and like I said, the snowball effect like you said, the snowball effect is definitely one hell of a thing. And that's what we went for here, so we wanted it to be fair. We wanted to be really open for people. And we wanted, principally to say, hey, there's no reason you need to be overpaying. And when we do tell someone a number that they feel is too high, well, at least they know that, what you're asking is going to cost a lot of money. And most of the times that we've, gotten a no from clients on big developments, a week later, we got not that they were pleading, but, they were definitely happy to take us up on the offer we gave them initially because, oftentimes they'll go get outside quotes and, well, it'll be 2, 3, 4, 5 times higher than we quoted them, So we do our best in keeping that, aspect of fairness.
Nice, cool. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on the utility before we kind of move into the token a little bit? I know we're running short of time and still a few bits to cover.
Definitely not. Yeah, go ahead. We can move on. It's everything good.
All right. So let's just quickly look at the token tax and how you've designed that. Token details. So we've got 10% transaction tax. 3 going towards buyback, 3 going towards marketing, 2 going towards the LP, and 2 to further development. Is that still the same? Is that on buy and sell?
Yeah, so 10% buy and sell, completely accurate. We do shift these little breakdowns quite often. So 3% towards buyback, definitely fair. 3% toward marketing, not fair because a percentage of that has been allocated to development. And liquidity, super avid on that. It's not just liquidity. What that 2% really goes to is staking pools, external LP pairs as well, right? Not just our BNB LP pair, because we understand, volatility in the general market is a big thing. And, we definitely want to have adequate, stable coin LP pairs, our farm token LP pair that will allow for kind of a market independence in a sense, right? So that breakdown is fair. I would say that a percentage from the marketing has been added to development, and sometimes a bit of a percentage of the buyback will be taken out to go into development, but those numbers remain pretty accurate. As with everything, I think adaptability is the number one thing, and to kind of know what your business and what your token needs in the specific time is really important, so oftentimes that comes down to our discretion, but definitely, good numbers for the most part, exactly as it says there. Keep in mind 1% might come out of either marketing or buyback to go toward development or liquidity. But yeah, fair.
Cool. All right. What kind of launch did you guys do? Let's just take a quick look at your chart. Build.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was this? So you did. You said you had 2 BNB in liquidity to start. Did you say?
Exactly. Or $650, whatever that was in May 26th.
Just a straight up fair launch.
Straight up fair launch with not a lot of people in the group, to be fair. We had this idea of doing a pre-sale at first, and we said, well, that's kind of like selling our souls, I told myself. And I said, hey, let's give people a real chance to get in. And yeah, we took it from the ground up, man. We really did. And I believe our first day we closed at 40K market cap. Second day maybe closed at around 80K. And yeah, we had that huge spike up as most launches do. We lost a lot of those people that were there off the call groups that posted us, which we didn't. Most of the call groups that posted us at launch, we didn't pay for them, right? I was never a fan of just buying something because it's moving up, but we definitely utilized the volume that we got at launch to continue to further the project. And ever since, we've been taking the course of route we do now. And yeah, that was our launch. We had maybe 500 members in the Telegram, but to be fair, most of those members maybe came from some announcements that maybe people just joined for a giveaway or whatnot. So we had maybe about, I'd say, 50 to 100 actual buyers in the first day, and then it snowballed pretty fast after that in terms of just volume and all that. So yeah,
it's nice. It's a nice chart. Healthy.
Yeah, healthy to say the least. We could always make it nicer, but healthy, definitely. And I believe it definitely represents what we're doing, our chart. And it definitely represents a lot of things in the space, patience being one of them that a lot of people don't have all the time. But, perseverance is one thing. And I'll tell you this much, we continue kind of, setting these higher highs and at least, kind of continuing in the trend we're continuing. And we're inbound for some really great stuff. So we're excited for that.
And you're also fighting against the market at the minute, so
Oh yeah, I would consider us to be trying. Yeah, definitely.
Just a question that I've just thought of regarding your buybacks.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing those? Are you doing them per project? Are you doing them quarterly? Are you like stealth doing them in bundles, in batches?
Yeah,
so you announcing them, or go on.
I'll tell you, all about it. Sometimes I'll wait for so primarily we'll get paid. And before we'll announce it, or maybe shortly after we'll announce it, we'll buy back, right? So we always have to make that burn, right? So if I'm going to do it after, which rarely happens, after I make the announcement, I'll just burn, holdings that we have, and then I'll make the buyback that equals to the same percentage, and we'll keep that and burn it after. But all the time, and this is for maybe like 4 or 5 times that I've made the post without the buy, we'll make the buy before. Sometimes we'll hold off on making a few buys and we'll just make it all then. You know what I mean? After we've burnt the adequate tokens. We were more focused on strategically making the buybacks at the start of our launch, just because we didn't want to give people a heads up. Hey, we sold 3 services today. A few $100s is going to be coming in the chart. Here's the chance for our impatient person to get a heads up on us, right? But nowadays, mostly what we're doing is we are buying right before we announce, right when we get paid, we'll make those buybacks. And we have been looking into a few alternative approaches. We have got some recommendations from some of our really large investors about kind of maybe making buybacks quarterly, maybe making buybacks at the end of the week, which we are looking into. But for the moment, we just make them when we get paid for our project or for whatever development we're doing. So it's going to be within that time frame.
I quite like that approach, to be fair, because it can't be manipulated. It's just
definitely not.
Only you guys know when a buyback's coming. Nobody else knows when a project's going to be completed. You do the buyback. People have sold. That's their tough. At least nobody's manipulating when then buybacks might come. Let's say you do it weekly. I'm going to sell on Sunday, and then I'm going to buy back on Saturday.
Exactly.
So yeah, I like that. But that's just my thoughts.
Definitely something I like too.
All right, let's. What am I looking at here?
Oh, yes.
Blockify.
Awesome. Let's talk about this. Here's what we call a reward token for Build a Block. This is a really cool thing. So we made a native proprietary yield of farm. What that required in order to give proprietary rewards to our, not really proprietary, but native rewards to our kind of community was to say, hey, we need something in-house that is going to help our project move. And that is what we call a mintable token that will exclude rewards. So Blockify to date has given about, I'd say, upwards of 55 to 60,000 US dollars worth of rewards that have been actually taken out of Blockify. So that means about 50 to 60 grand was delivered to people in actual Blockify tokens. And, people swapped it for build. people traded as they will. Some people compounded it, but we were in need of a reward token and a farm token, and Build a Block's not a mintable project; it's a deflationary project. So we said, hey, let's create BlockFi. And BlockFi, what it does is it buys back and it burns Build a Block, which is really, really cool. And BlockFi is used to kind of farm pairs. It's used as rewards when you're staking for many pools. And yeah, it's a reward token. It's really cool. It's really awesome. The liquidity to market cap ratio on BlockFi is outstanding. And that number right there, that 40K number, representing over 50% of a liquidity backing, it excludes the external pairs that it has on certain ones on the farm as well. So BlockFi is very much literally cash. There's never going to be a point where you can't sell all your BlockFi if you want to, which our smarter investors have been keeping on to that and compounding it. But what you're looking at is a way for our community to make money all within our own ecosystem, right? So instead of taking thousands of dollars of revenues or fees and solely using that, well, we're able to kind of allow people to earn a token that is directly within our ecosystem, that that token itself is using a portion of those fees generated to buy back and burn Build a Block, right? So let's say I've made $100 using my Build a Block tokens and my BlockFi tokens farming or staking, and I decide, hey, I want to take my $100 out of BlockFi. I sell BlockFi, but on those sells, they're making buys back onto the Build a Block chart with those fees collected, and it's buying and it's burning Build a Block. And from day one, I've avidly said BlockFi should be earned, should be compounded, should be sold if you want to, but it has some awesome technology that keeps it afloat, you know what I mean? And to say the sheer amount of money that has been taken out of it, like I just told you guys that more money has been sold, right? That's in that liquidity, right? So, which, listen, I'm not against. If people want to take the money that we given them and earning them, they can do that, but that's something that's really cool because this token will always have self-generation of volume. Right, this is a farm token that is able to acquire liquidity and volume solely based on earning other people money, and the demand for earning free money is always in place. Right, so this will always help bring more volume into Build a Block, and it'll always help maintain the volume in our actual yield farm and deliver rewards. Now, whether people decide to all hold BlockFi together and continue compounding, so that when they're earning one BlockFi instead of $4, it's $10, they can do that, and they should do that. But, for the time being, it serves as, our farm token and the way, we deliver rewards to our holders. And, it has a awesome smart contract code. It's really, really cool and intuitive that, allows it to make buys on itself. This Master Chief contract that manages a lot of things. Like I said, buys back, burns Build a Block, helps with our liquidity as well. We have some cool big BlockFi LP pairs between Build that, give us extra strengthening. It routes a lot of our, we collect deposit fees on our farms, which we're able to use, as a second generation of income for both the farm token and ultimately, like we said, Build a Block. And yeah, so, much like Pancake Swap has Cake, as a reward token that, is distributed to people. We have BlockFi that's directly within our ecosystem. We said, hey, if we're going to build a yield farm, let's make sure that every dollar circulating in it is going to benefit us as much as it's benefiting our investors, So, people were a fan of it, and we have some really cool stuff with the emission rates for BlockFi. I believe there's a post I'll find the post later and forward it if anyone wants it in our chat itself. But we have some emission cuts coming to BlockFi that will allow for less tokens to be on the market, and that subsequent to a higher price range, with subsequent consequence of that is, well, bigger buybacks and burns on Build a Block. So
I feel like
it's awesome.
Like we could probably go into a whole new AMA on Buildify, to be honest.
But definitely the technology, yeah, exactly. But it's cool. It's awesome. It's not, when you're buying BlockFi, you're not buying into our company. You're buying into a token that is used for farming, which is cool. We do have investors that buy BlockFi, which I'm for. I've bought in BlockFi. It's awesome. It grows. It's healthy. But when you buy Build a Block, it's good to know that you have other stuff that makes people money, like BlockFi, that is able to come on and say, hey, we're helping the Build a Block chart. And BlockFi in its essence is an awesome project. It's a really great project. It's from what I can say, it works as a direct example of what quality is. And you look at that liquidity ratio. You look at the technology behind that, which I'm not going to go dive into since, we are running out of time, but it works beautifully within the ecosystem. And like we've always said, quality is our number one priority, and it definitely fits into that category. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, listen, I think it about nearly covers everything. Let's just touch on your
Definitely.
roadmap and
Yeah.
the plans, a bit of future plans. Where do you see yourselves going? What's the deal?
Let's
Obviously,
talk
we
about
haven't got any dates, which is cool. A lot of people do that nowadays, and you just tick them off
dates.
as they're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Why not? You don't
What?
set
Yeah.
a time and fail to hit it, do you? So it's all good.
I like
Just be
keeping
done the job.
promises. I don't make promises unless I could keep them 100%. Definitely, yeah. Yeah. So, like you see in phase two, we're mainly focusing on phase two into kind of getting ourselves in bigger places, centralized exchanges. Once we get on those centralized exchanges, which we're in the process of, making that happen, we could automatically be on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. CMC and CoinGecko might happen first. All of those are, in a relatively very, very near future. We wanted to make sure to get these things at the proper time because we don't feel like just being a stealth launch that decided to fast track CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap for a few $1,000s and it bringing no real substance. So our main, priority right now is to, for one, develop the company, continue to bring up our revenues, and for two, to give us the proper exposure and credibility, right? So, being on centralized exchanges, being on these notable kind of screeners, right, is kind of what allows newer investors that maybe are not so familiarized with the actual space, maybe they're not completely trusting of every project they see, that will give us the step up to acquire some bigger name investors. And that speaks for kind of our initial what we're doing now. We plan on stepping it up in terms of just our SEOs in a whole, getting our name out as much as we can, continuing to develop the project, continuing to develop the business. And I don't want to speak too much about down the road, but like I said in the beginning, is that we are going to end up being a registered company. We're going to end up working with companies and real life entities in order to kind of bring this facilitation of Web3 development to a lot of people. And we are just planning on kind of making the Build a Block company as easy to interact with, and as kind of just facilitating everything in a sort of manner that will make it so that the company is as scalable as can be at all times. And the chart will be a direct kind of correlation and consequence to that, right? So keep the business running, keep the word flowing about Build a Block, and continue to take the steps needed in order to kind of for lack of a better word, again, boss up and to continue to meet new standards and to kind of bring these standards to ourselves. Eventually, that will deal with making some internal changes into everything, but that's our plan for the time being, to continue to do what we're doing, do it at a larger scale, and to continue to provide this opportunity to every single person that says, hey, I have this opportunity of buying a project that kind of pennies on the dollar, less than pennies on the dollar in a sense. And, proving everyone right that believed in us, and proving everyone that maybe doesn't wrong, right? So taking it step by step.
You might have just subconsciously answered the legit crypto lounge question then, but we'll find out in a minute.
Awesome.
Yeah, listen, guys. I'm going to wrap up the recording. But is there anything else that you think I've missed out, or do you want to say?
I think it was a great presentation. I'm really, first of all, thank you so much for having the time to speak to us, and the flow is great. Really appreciate it. If anything, just to say this one time, guys, we have so much reading material on our Medium, which you can find in our link tree. We have some awesome stuff there. So, there's more, you guys can read for a while. You guys can take an hour out of your day if you feel like it, and learn everything there is to know about every step of the way we've taken. So, and I'll always be available in our chat to answer any further questions or anything else that, maybe if you joined late. And I'm sure we'll have this recording as well. So I believe we talked, we covered what I would love to, the baseline of what we'd like to present today. And thank you again for it. And yeah, if you guys want to learn more, Medium, ask us. We have in-chat AMAs as well. So that being said, thank you so much. And yeah.
No, listen, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the energy. I can see your passion shining through, both of you.
Appreciate it.
To see. But listen, before you shoot off, we are going to ask one more question.
Excited for it.
And that is basically, without clear vision from you guys, the team, it's hard to make a project work. So the question that we like to ask is, at which point does this project become a success to you?
Oh, if I said never, would you guys be mad? No, I'm just joking.
No.
My definition of success is unfortunately skewed in the sense that, you know, I believe that when building and when creating something, in my mind, there will always be a better thing, much like everyone's idea of I can always have a faster car, I could always have a nicer house, or I could always have a prettier girlfriend, or whatnot, whatever people think. This whole concept of nothing's ever enough. But for us, I guess my definition of success, and we've been succeeding for where we are now, and we've been doing good work. But, you know, I see this as a success when we have, you know, thousands of clients a year, when we are automated, like, you know, making a lot of these sales automatic, when we have, you know, a big, nice floor at an awesome office that we can have our great investors come see us in real life, and we can sit down with clients one-to-one, and we can still keep an aspect of, you know, we can still keep the aspect of decentralization, in the sense that we will still have, you know, remote and workers working around the globe. We'll still accept cryptocurrency payments. We'll still, you know, meet with you without, you know, you needing to disclose your identity to us. We'll never lose the backbone and the idea of decentralization that we're so fond of. But when we get to that level, and, you know, when Web3 becomes the entity it is going to be, when we're working with, you know, multi-million-dollar and, you know, 10-figure companies, you know, and so forth, you know, and when we're really making a difference, and, you know, when you have someone's grandmother using a product for some company that was built by us in the blockchain or whatnot, and, you know, when Build a Block becomes a household name in terms of the crypto space, I will feel a minute feeling of success. But for me, the success comes from just, you know, being able to reward our investors, and to being able to continue working. You know, it's an honor for me to be able to get up every day and work on this project. And it's something that, you know, both me and Fanta feel very much the same about. And, you know, it's not a success until, well, you see 10, you see like 8 zeros at the end of our market cap, you know. So we're very much working to visualize, you know, that end goal, and it's going to take nothing but hard work, but it's an inevitability for myself and Fanta and the project itself. So yeah,
that's a great answer. I like Mark will be gutted he missed that, because he likes numbers at the end, and when he just put 8 zeros on the end of a market cap, he would have been going, "Wow, let's go!" So yeah, like, listen, thanks again for joining us, and this is one of the reasons we created this lounge. To be honest with you, was to see projects like this with real utility, that, like we said, that only, you know, not just a Ponzi scheme.
Really
I like
happy.
what you're doing. So yeah, thank you for joining us, guys. Really
thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much, and thank you to yourself
you
and
very
everyone
much,
who
man.
took the time of their day to come and listen to me. And I know I talk a lot, guys, sorry. But I'm really happy to have spoken to you guys today, and looking forward to maybe having some new people join us in our community, and to share their thoughts and their questions. And once again, thank you to all you guys, and thanks for giving us the chance.
From a host perspective, there's no such thing as a guy that talks too much. There's a guy who doesn't talk enough, and you start to get worried about what's happening, whether he's actually passionate about what he's pitching. So yeah, no concerns with talking too much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.